What's up, guys, and welcome to Pardon the Smash, episode 4. With me, as always, are Noah and Echo, and our special guest this week is going to be Trent from New York. Say hi to the stream, Trent.
What's up, stream?
So, if we could start off, just Trent, having you give like kind of a introduction, who you are, and like how you started playing Smash, and how you know everyone.
Sure. Yeah. Hi. For those who don't know me, I'm Trent. I used to live in Nebraska a long time ago, like half a year ago. I moved to New York to pursue an acting career, and I've also joined the Smash community in New York, and I'm loving it so far. And I joined Smash back in '08 when Brawl came out, and I played both Melee and Brawl. I was really bad at Melee, so I quit really fast, though. And then I quit Smash altogether like in 2010 and then came back.
And then returned.
Yeah.
All right, should we get started? Our first topic we have today is State of the Smash, New York. And so we've been doing this, we did it the first time last episode where we had a guest from South Dakota. We just kind of had them talk about the scene and like plug their Twitch accounts and everything. So yeah, Trent, if you want to kind of like lead this a little bit and just talk about like the different stuff going on in New York right now, how the scenes are connected, where the streams are, all that, that'd be great.
Sure. Yeah. Before I moved here, Smash was actually declining in New York, surprisingly, because in New York, both Melee and Brawl were like big way back in the day before Brawl died. And then Melee started to decline just a little bit. Like it was big in New Jersey, but I felt like New York City didn't really have it. And then all of a sudden, like after I moved there, like I think because of just the fact that Smash 4 was coming out, I think people got interested in Melee again. And the attendance started like going up. When I was first there, like there's this net weekly there called Nebulous, and that goes on for every week, and they usually gets like 20 entrants for Melee, 20 entrants for PM. That was usually the norm. And after about 3 months of living there, all of a sudden they have 80 entrants in Melee, and then PM got like 40 or something. And then Smash 4 came out, and that had like 80 entrants every week. And Smash is becoming big again in New York City. It's actually becoming a contender. Like PC Chris just came back from the dead. I met him, and I talked to him for a sec. He's a cool dude.
So what's like the schedule for your weeklies at like Nebulous and stuff?
The schedule, like, so they separate it because Melee is still the biggest thing there. So Melee is on Saturday, and we in the exact same venue. We then do Sundays is a mix of PM and Smash 4 since we can put them at two separate corners. Because PM is declining a little bit right now. I think they're trying to revive it a little bit, but it's declining just a little bit. But Smash 4 still has like, the same entrance as Melee. So basically, Sunday is Smash 4 p.m. Saturday is Melee.
And where's the location in case anybody wants to check it out and like the times?
Oh, Nebulous. It's in Chinatown. I have no idea what the address is off the top of my head, but there's a Facebook page. I could link it later. Where if anyone in New York that's watching this wants to go, you should really go. Nebulous is a lot of fun. And they just got a brand new venue. They just got this huge venue. They used to have this little tiny, little crappy hallway with like 80 people and sweaty nerds, and it was the worst. But now it's like this big venue, and it's actually starting to become a little bit legit right now.
One of the other things I was kind of curious about too was, I think until recently, like D1 was living in New York, but it seemed like there wasn't much of a scene outside of his place. Do you know anything about that?
About the scene with D1, you mean?
Yeah, like I mean, it's like you were talking about how it kind of declined, but it seemed like having such a big figure in the Smash community living there, you'd think there'd be a big scene.
Yeah, no, I definitely. I didn't really know that much, I guess. I just assumed D1 traveled a lot. That's the thing. Like, nationals wouldn't really happen that much in New York. He'd either go to New Jersey or he'd go to Coast because he was a big name. He would just travel to everything. For some reason, in Manhattan, New York City specifically, it just wasn't that big. Like, in Long Island, it's big, and all around New York, it's big. But, like, in Manhattan, it was just a little bit smaller, I guess. And then once I moved up there, D1 moved to the West Coast because he got a job with Twitch.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Noah or Echo, do you guys have any questions about the New York scene that you'd like to ask?
I mean, how smoothly do your events run? You said there's 80 people, and that's for 2 to 3
Oh, yeah, that's one of the surprising things. It runs like I've never been there past 10:30 p.m. and we start at like 3.
Wow.
So do you just have like a ton of setups, or how does that work?
Well, yeah, we do have a lot of setups. But it's just there's not a lot of cross joining. Like we maybe have like 10 people that are both PM and Smash 4. And so there's not much crossing. People play their matches immediately. There's no like waiting or breaks or anything. There's always matches going on. I'm really not sure what else they do beyond that. I don't know what they do differently. There's never really issues of like where did someone go if someone like left the venue or something, because usually they let the TO know they'll be back in 10 minutes and then they're back in 10 minutes.
Man, that's unheard of. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I know. It was very weird for me.
But no, I mean, I think that's pretty huge. We should definitely try to take some lessons from what you're seeing there, because we could totally take advantage of some of that stuff here. Although we're not going to have 80 people, but there's no rest taking forever,
Well, I think the thing is, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Noah.
Well, I was just going to ask, how far away are these tournaments that you go to? I mean, is there more than just like Nebulous, or is there just kind of that one?
There's a lot of tournaments like around the tri-state area, which is New York, PA, New Jersey. But like for me to travel to, it doesn't cost like much money or whatever. Like Nebulous is like a 20-minute subway ride to get to. They have Next Level Gaming every now and then. That's just like a bi-weekly or monthly. Like there's just a lot of tournaments. They have some in Long Island. I went to a Long Island one before. It's becoming very active, like just the New York scene in general. Like if you want to go to a tournament, there's a tournament like everywhere at every turn.
Cool. I wish we had that.
Yeah.
And before we move on, do you want to like plug streams and stuff, like what you should watch if you want to watch New York Smash?
Oh yeah, totally. Bifu Techie is now the main stream for Smash 4 and PM, as well as Free Saltines. The Melee stream, I believe, is oh shoot, I had this.
Is that not 20XX or is that a different one?
It might be the 20XX, the not 20XX thing. I think that might be them. I'm not positive. I'll have to go double check that later.
Okay.
But yeah, they happen every weekend, Saturday, Sunday. Not this weekend because they're reconstructing, but the week after is when they start.
Sweet.
Mm.
All right, let's move on to our next topic. That's hashtag Save Apex. Basically, what happened on Friday.
Oh.
So I figured that, Trent and I can kind of recap about like what we did maybe a little bit.
That was fun. So
yeah.
Go ahead.
So like I get to New York Thursday night, and Trent and I are just like, I was staying at his place in New York. So I was like, all right, we're just going to like go to bed, and we don't need to get to the tournament right away because there's not too much going on. Like Trent didn't have pools till like 3 or something,
5
right?
p.m.
5? Okay, yeah. So we were just like, well, we can just kind of roll in whenever. So yeah, we wake up and it's like 9 or 9:30 or something, and like turn on the stream and it's like VGPC is offline. I'm like, oh, that's weird. So I go to Team Sugi, and like it's an empty room, and you just see like cops standing there. So I'm just like, all right, this is bad news. And I think, Trent, were you like reading like Smash Reddit or something?
No, I was freaking washing my hands in the bathroom because I just took a shit, and you were you just like you knocked on the door and you're like, hey, so the stream's down, and I'm like, what? And then you told me about that you got evacuated.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and so I left the door and went to go look at the stream, and like you said, there were cops on. I didn't see the cops. I missed that part, but I saw pictures where like there were just cops like walking around, and we were joking about how it'd be cool if like the cops talked about something like that they weren't supposed to talk about, not knowing that they were being recorded online. But yeah, so we were just like, well, should we go still? Because they're just, it's just a delay. So we just thought it was going to be like an hour-long delay or something. Nothing too big. And then the hotel gets condemned, and the fire marshal finds all these fire codes. And as far as we know, the tournament's pretty much done for Friday.
Yeah, I mean, we were seeing like, I think the first thing was just like, oh, it's just like fire alarm pulls. It was like the first thing we heard, and we're like,
yeah,
oh, okay.
That's all we thought it was.
It'll be fine.
Like, oh,
and then it's like,
it's gonna be delayed like 2 hours. Oh no.
Yeah. So then I think at some point it was like 11 or so, and we're just like, screw it, we should just actually go. And worst case, I don't know, we'll just hang out and play friendlies with people
we
or
just
whatever.
decided to go. It was like $3 to get a
Like-
bus ride there.
Yeah, bus is only like $5. So on the way over, like we're like sitting in the bus, and I think you're looking on your phone, Trent.
Yeah,
I've seen these tweets. D1's like, "Yo, venue change, guys! Venue change hype."
we're like, what?
We're like,
already
what?
on
We're
the way
literally
there.
on the way right
It's
now.
like in the complete opposite direction, really far out of the way. And so let's talk about the venue change a sec here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously they had to just pull something out in order to make the tournament run. I'm so happy that it was able to run. But it was just so far away that we ended up spending way more money to get there. And it was a longer distance travel. For people who live in New York City, it was a burden because of that. So that was unfortunate, but I guess it had to happen. So we get there at the tournament Friday, right? And we're just walking around the hotel. All these smashers are just walking all around. Like I already recognize like 10 people like immediately when I walk in this freaking hotel. And everyone's like still like in the panic. But I'm like learning stuff. We're learning stuff as things are happening. Smashers are going up to the TOs asking, "Hey, what's going on?" And they're just like in the dark. And there's a lot of panic going on, just a little bit. But the hotel was probably the best part, going up the floors, because
That was such a great experience.
yeah, there were 10 floors in the hotel, and we would just literally walk through each floor, and there would be at least 2 rooms open. Like just the door would be wide open, and there'd be like 3 or 4 CRTs, and they're playing Melee in there. And it was just such a cool experience. It was a Smash hotel. It was just a gigantic hotel for Smash Fest, and it was so freaking fun because people would just walk into the room and just like, "Yo, can I call next?" And then if they got sick of playing those guys, they would leave the room and go find another room on a different floor. And so we just wandered all the rooms, and we eventually found Smash 4 because the problem was there weren't like the TVs for Smash 4, but there were CRTs everywhere, so Melee people could play those. And it was fun. It was a great way to get to know people too. And I had a lot of fun. And Derek recorded a lot of stuff, including Bizarro Flame's first Smash 4 match.
Yeah, I gotta put that up at some point.
It was a money match. It's the very first time he touched the game. And he landed all the up tilts, all the Warlock punches. It was insane.
It's really hype. It's pretty sweet.
It was like the most hype Smash 4 match I've ever seen in my life. It was his first time playing.
Derek, what other stuff do you have besides that? Like, what footage is he talking about?
I took footage just on Friday of like random stuff going on. Like I took footage of like most people playing Smash in their rooms, and I felt like I felt like I had my camera with me on Saturday and Sunday, but I felt like all the pros were like filming there. But for some reason on Friday, I felt like the people with their like pro cameras weren't really like hanging out in hotel rooms and stuff and like filming that as much. At least I didn't see anybody like hanging around with them. So I don't know. I might have some unique stuff there. I just kind of filmed stuff that was going on. I have like TOs making announcements and just kind of like a panorama of the lobby, and it was fun.
You can make
Yeah,
like
that
a
makes you PB and J, right?
Yo, dude, for sure.
you can make like a
Oh, you'd be
YouTube video, like a montage or something with those.
Yeah,
Get like 30,000 views, easy.
yeah, I want to do that at some point.
Mhm.
All right, anything else you just want to touch on this?
That's pretty much all I had.
All right, let's hit our next topic. Nintendo sponsoring Apex. Is it a good thing, or is it a bad thing, or should we even care? I guess. Do you guys have any opinions? You want to start off, or should I start off with this?
Go ahead.
I mean, I was thinking about this a little bit, and it's like I think people don't entirely have like a good grasp of what Nintendo did at Apex. And part of it, I think one thing was there was this whole thing that was like a special announcement that somehow got like misconstrued as Nintendo's making a special announcement, but it was actually just like Apex like customer service awards or whatever they're called, like TO awards, I guess.
Service.
Yeah. They called it something like that. They're like, community service, I think is what it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's like all it was. And they said they've never meant to hype it up, but I don't know exactly how that got started. But anyway, the other thing is too, they were responsible for a large portion of the setups at the venue. Not
Yeah.
only Smash 4 is my understanding, but also Melee and 64 and stuff through
Yeah,
gaming generations.
they supplied a majority of the systems, and gaming generations supplied a majority of the TVs and monitors.
Okay, that's what it was. Yeah,
Yeah, but outside that, they didn't really do much. They just like gave the full support.
there's Splatoon too.
Oh yeah, Splatoon. That was awesome. Oh, we got to talk about that on Friday. We played
Yeah, we should-
Splatoon. That
We
was
should have made it a
awesome.
topic for Splatoon, you know?
Well, except we got
All of
left.
us got to try it, dude.
Dude, Splatoon got left in the old venue though. That was so
That
sad.
was so dumb.
Yeah.
It's like Splatoon will still be at the old venue that no one's at. So there's just like random people going to this hotel and just a random setup of Splatoon for non-smashers to see.
Yeah.
But anyway, derailing the subject.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like Nintendo's sponsorship for Apex, I don't think it was just kind of there. Like, it didn't bother me. Like, I didn't see it. The only negatives were that there were commercials, but whatever. Like, they weren't that often, and they were usually for Nintendo-related stuff and not, like, stuff I didn't care about. So I didn't really see any negatives to it.
I mean, but think about how much more they could be doing. Contrast that with like Capcom
Yeah.
Cup, where they're putting in. I actually don't know how much it is. I want to say like hundreds of thousands, $800,000 into that tournament. Maybe it was 50. I have no idea. But they're putting just like straight up, cash into the scene, and I think that's something that Nintendo could do, because I think they would definitely get a lot of support for that. But I also think that they're just kind of maybe dipping their toes in right now. At least I hope that this isn't like the extent of what they're going to do, that maybe they're just kind of feeling it out a little bit, and maybe eventually they'll kind of maybe give a little bit more.
I totally agree. This is like the first time they're doing this. So I think that I think it was just them dipping their toes in the water, and they're going to see what happens.
My understanding too is like Nintendo just feels like a very, very, very conservative company to me. Like, and you can see that in all the different things they have. Like, they're just finally starting to catch up in terms of their online, their multiplayer. And
Nintendo's just
a
behind.
lot of people too were kind of expecting, at least when we were at Apex on Friday, we're like, Nintendo's gonna save us. Like, wouldn't it be great, if Nintendo just like came down and like gave us Melee HD and like took us to a new tournament menu, and then everything was perfect. But like, I don't think they're like that fast of a reaction. Like, the reactions are that fast as a company. Like, I think they just kind of want to test the waters, see how things go, like make sure it's not a bunch of like degenerate nerds that are gonna like kill their brand, and then maybe kind of slowly escalate things.
Don't kill my brand.
But yeah,
No,
Nintendo.
Echo, you guys want to say anything at some point?
I don't know. I think it's really good that they're trying to get involved, but I just kind of question what the exact goal is with them getting involved, because they didn't really get involved until they were about to release Smash 4. So it kind of makes me feel like maybe they, with Sakurai even saying that he didn't want this game to be competitive and all this, it's kind of weird. I see Tizer even posted in there asking about, it's hypocritical that they're sponsoring Smash 4 tournaments, but Sakurai didn't want the game to be involved in that at all. So it's kind of weird that they're doing it. It's almost like they were trying to cover up and say, well, this game's probably not going to go over so well, so maybe we want to like get involved, build it all up. I don't know. Maybe they tried to cover it up a little bit, but it's just interesting to me. They're not. I don't know what all the behind the scenes talk is, but it sounds like they're not allowing PM to be played anymore. And if that's the case, are they eventually going to say, well, maybe we don't want Melee to be played as much, or are they going to go with the idea of Melee HD and stuff and support Melee? I mean, you really got to look at it as, even with Smash 4 just coming out, Melee was still the bigger game. So, I would imagine that they'd have to wise up about it, but this is Nintendo. They didn't even think people wanted HD on the Wii, so.
Yeah.
I wanted to touch on something real quick that you said about Nintendo sponsoring the competitive scene, and I don't think that they really, at least at first right now, they're doing any of this sponsorship for the competitive scene. They're just doing it to sell more Smash 4 and more, 3DS and whatever. So maybe eventually it can upgrade to sponsoring a competitive environment, but I don't think that Nintendo is actually sponsoring competition. They're just wanting to sell more stuff.
All right, let's move on to our next topic. That is salty sweet, my B at Apex.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh.
Dude,
You should run that DBZ clip while we're talking about this.
yo, yeah. So salty sweet, dude. Being there at
That
like
was an experience.
it
Like
was
you
really
guys,
interesting. What were you gonna say? Like, because I think we're gonna say the same
you guys
thing.
watched the stream of the Salty Sweet. I just can't imagine it was not near the amount of hype of actually physically being there. Like I've never felt that much hype in my life. Like I just wanted to scream. I could not explain it. Like there were chants that I would join. I would join in the chant just because, oh my god, there's too much energy around me. I need to like let off this energy. It was just so fun to physically be there. Like I'm so glad I was at least there for that. Like I regret not being there for the PPMD matches at the end, but like the Salty Sweet, it was so fun to be a part of that. Oh my gosh.
I'm glad you had fun because watching it was a little painful. I mean, come on. What did Eichelman say?
Well,
His
okay, so-
evisceration is imminent. I mean, come on, dude.
Yeah.
Worst trash talk I've literally ever heard in my entire life.
I felt bad for
He went full
Eichelman because he
neck
wasn't even originally supposed to be there. Like it was supposed to be Kage, and but he filled in. So like he said he was humbled when Scar was asking him like the questions, and then freaking Bizarro was like a fraud and just actually seeing him say this because Derek and I talked to Bizarro the day before at the hotel. And he came off as like this really, really nice guy, like really friendly, really humble guy. Just so to see him like act like that was hilarious. He's like putting on a show. Like that's not how he actually is.
Oh, the other thing too, yeah, he was practicing up tilts on the stage before
Yeah,
the stream, which is pretty
He
hilarious.
did it like 3 times before
Yeah.
we went live.
Now, did he practice his real life up tilt beforehand?
Yeah,
That's what we meant.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, really? Okay.
Yeah,
he did it like 3 times on stage before they went live.
yeah, it was great. It was weird beforehand though, because they kept they're like, all right, Salty Sweet's gonna start, and then like
They just kept telling us it would start, and then there would be little delays. And like, okay, it's gonna start now, and then 5 minutes later, okay, it's gonna start now, and then like Prague would be in the audience trying to get everyone to quiet down.
he's like trying to get everybody in this gigantic like auditorium garage
With, like, 1,000
to be like
plus
quiet.
people. And it's just like it's not gonna happen, especially because those people aren't even paying attention to this because they're playing games in the back.
There's no chance.
So yeah, how big was that video compared to
The thing, it was like
the hotel?
It was
it
bigger.
felt way bigger.
Mhm.
I didn't actually look in any of the ballrooms ever, but it was kind of weird because it's like, imagine like, it's like the new venue is like the Lancaster County Event Center basically, and the old venue was like, in a hotel or something. So it's like, the thing I didn't really consider is that is harder to, like if you wanted to have a quiet room or something like that, or like keep things quiet, like everything's just in one room and there's like people kind of packed in towards the middle of the room because that's where stuff was. And so everything kind of bled together a little bit, which could be good or bad, but
It was fun.
yeah.
What was you guys' favorite match?
Oh, it was either. Honestly, I want to say Chillin versus Leffen, just
Ooh.
because Chillin got destroyed, and it was just like there was this weird feeling once it was over that there was an awkward feeling throughout the entire audience. Like everyone didn't know what to say. We didn't know what to cheer. We was just like, "You got 5-0'd, buddy." And then the second Mango stepped up on the stage, the second he stepped up there, like Mango just restored the hype, and then everyone knew what was crazy. Like Mango saved the day there. Like even though he didn't win the $1,000 money match, he still saved. I think the atmosphere would have been killed if it wasn't for Mango not stepping on the stage and challenging Leffen. So I give props to Mango for doing that.
Mango's pretty awesome.
Yeah, he's a really cool guy.
Tizer actually said that when he was watching that money match between them and Mango was like losing and looking all haggard and stuff, he compared it to seeing his favorite superhero getting beat up and not knowing why that was happening.
Oh my gosh.
It's kind of true though, because I mean Mango's like, USA and all that, so
Well, he like didn't sleep the whole night. Like
he didn't sleep at all Saturday night.
he didn't sleep that night, which was a mistake. And I don't know. He just looked terrible, like walking around. But
Yeah, when Derek and I first walked into the venue Sunday morning, we saw Mango like right away, like he was walking towards us, and he looked like death. Like I'm not trying to jaunt for him or anything, but he looked like he saw something, like he's seen some crap, and I kind of felt bad for him.
yeah, that was kind of unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I really like the Bizarro, like the Salty Sweet match too. I just became a
started
Bizarro fan.
5 stomps like immediately. I wanted that to be my favorite one, but I just felt so bad for what's his name? Bizarro's opponent.
Oh, Eichelman. Man, I wish we could have heard the commentary too. That's one thing too. Like they didn't have commentary on in the venue ever. So
it's the one thing I hated about actually being there. You couldn't hear the commentary whatsoever.
Yeah.
So, but you could like see them talk on the big screen, but there'd be no volume.
Were husband and wife good? I couldn't hear.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about Ken versus PC Chris.
Yeah.
When PC Chris dove into the audience, that was
dude, that was so great.
Oh my god.
Like Scar's just like, are you coming back up? And he just like, I don't know, they just dumped him in the middle of the audience and then he left.
Yeah, and they just took him. He was like, yeah, he dipped.
Oh, that was too funny.
Yeah.
All right, next up we have our viewer question. That's Cam just told us the viewer question. Is that the viewer question, Cam?
Yeah. Which one? Where is Aftershock at? Now I might do a quick Google.
The viewer question, by the way, to Cam is Roll Tier 5 and Aftershock are on the same day.
I think I found it.
What do you think about that?
What is Aftershock? Where is that?
I think I just found it on Smashboard. It says $3,000 prize pool, Smash 4 PM Melee, top players from Arlington, Texas.
Where's this at?
So it looks like it's in Texas.
Yo, let's go to Texas, dude.
Yeah, it's in Arlington, Texas.
Yo, you know what really grinds my gears, though? You know what really grinds my gears?
What, Peter?
It's like we scheduled this tournament like 6 months ago beforehand with like the pot bonus and everything. Posted on Smashboards. We check Smashboards, make sure there's no other Smash tournaments running the same day. And then it's just like somebody else is like, yeah, all right, it doesn't. Well, we just got this Roll Tier thing. Doesn't matter. Like we'll just schedule ours the same day. It's like, dude, like this is bad for both tournaments, though. It's like you make people have to choose between them, and I don't know. I mean, I don't think it was on purpose or anything. I think it just kind of happens. People are just like, yeah, let's just do this day when we're free.
I'm pretty sure they just were not even aware about the Nebraska tournament.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame them. Like, who knows about tournaments in the Midwest, really, besides like Big House and stuff.
The thing is, I went to a Nebulous last week, and I overheard DJ Nintendo and Gallo talking about Roll Tier. So I jumped into the conversation because, like, hey, I'm from there. But, like, they were randomly talking about it. It's because apparently they overheard from Mewtwo King that he's going to be going.
So Mewtwo King told him?
Or something. They heard from Mewtwo King or something. But, like, basically, like, people are aware of the tournament on the East Coast. Just not everyone.
Dang.
And
It's too bad we can't get some of those people from Texas to come. I mean, I think the only person that would really know about it is probably Strong Bad, since he just recently moved down there. But he probably doesn't have the nicest things to say after his experiences from previous Roll Tiers. So he might not really be like advocating it very much. I've played with some of the other guys down there, but I mean, it's not like I've talked to them for a very long time. So, I mean, they're more than welcome to have their own tournament, but it just sucks that we're not going to be able to maybe pull some of those people from the South up to, our event.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I should have clarified, too. Like, I'm not mad at them or anything for it. It's just kind of unfortunate that it's happening. Well, I don't know. Do you guys have anything else that you want to talk about these tournaments? I don't know a whole lot about them. I think a lot of people on Reddit have been talking about it, though, as being like the Savior PM tournament. One of the few big tournaments that's running PM.
How big are we talking here, though? Because
I mean, it's a Texas tournament, so it'll probably have a decent number of people since there are lots of people in Texas.
$3,000 prize pool too. So
I mean,
yeah,
there's 2,000 on Roll Tier, but
ours. So
what, like 50 something Melee players last time, and 80 something PM players? I mean, what type of numbers are we talking in Texas?
I don't actually know. That's a
you
good
guys. You guys know what this tournament doesn't have? It doesn't have Brawl or 64.
Yo, this guy's onto something.
Oh, it's going to be at Roll Tier.
Everybody that plays Brawl or 64 is going to travel from everywhere in the country to Roll Tier. because we're going to be the only people running that. And I don't know if this even has doubles. This might be only singles. Yeah, it looks like only singles.
I'd hope so. Last time you guys did doubles for 64, I remember commentating that it took a while.
Well, and this one in Texas is a 2-day event doing just the 3 main games to just singles. So we're gonna do 2 days, all these games, singles and doubles, and Brawl in 64.
Oh, they don't have doubles though?
No, it doesn't look like it. All I see on the entry fees is 10 for each game, and it just says singles, and $20 venue fee.
So wait, why is Roll Tier have 64 in Brawl again?
It's on the Midwest circuit, I guess.
There's a Midwest circuit for 64 in Brawl?
Well, I mean, not specifically for them, but the circuit includes those games. The circuit includes those games.
So that 10 people can enter them? Sorry, this is just an outsider point right now that it just seems like a terrible idea to include those games. But maybe 64 singles, maybe because there is that little niche hardcore group like Decline and I don't know who else plays that game, but there's that niche group that does play 64, so maybe I can understand that, maybe. But there is no one in the Midwest that cares about Brawl right now. I know 0 people.
Joe, there's one dude in the Nebraska Smash group that does though. He definitely posts his frag vids once in a while, and then he got banned.
Was it Rob? Rob on an alternate account, maybe?
No, some other guy.
But all I'm saying is maybe you can keep 64 singles if you make it 3 stocks or so. I don't know.
I feel like
Brawl does not belong there.
It's kind of people are like, oh, 1 unit, we need to have all games. But it's really, the thing I've been saying to everybody is that you should kind of just take a poll and say, if 64 was not at this tournament, would you not come? And
I'll start the poll. I'll do it.
If if there's 5 people that say no, then it's you need to consider whether you're going to potentially make your tournament run late in order for this to happen. That or limit people to a certain number of events that they can enter. Got to choose one of those.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on past reviewer questions to the next topic. Smash 4 is long. Do Smash 4 games take too long? Part of this, I think, was probably incited by watching Top 8 at Apex. Trent, the avid Smash fan, was sitting next to me watching that Top 8. And man, it started off when we were just yo, a Pac-Man, this is hype.
Yo, it was hype. It was hype at the start. And then, so Smash 4 is my game. That's the game I play. I know people with pitchforks, whatever. But the top 8, listen, we watched the top 16 the day before, and I was really into it. I was watching, I was getting hyped. There was a lot of hype matches going on. Then the top 8 happened, and there were just so much camping, and that's the meta right now, and that's why that's working, except for Zero. Zero, even though Zero's the player that I always just disliked. I never liked this whole pick the best character in every single Smash game, then smack talk, whatever. But he was being super aggressive. If you watched Grand Finals, that ended super fast. So there is potential for aggressive play to work in that game. It's just we haven't reached that point yet. Smash 4 is still a brand new game, in my opinion. I feel after a couple of years, that's the problem. It'll probably get a little bit more faster matches, hopefully, because I don't want to watch that again. That was just not a spectator-friendly top 8, in my opinion. And I'm a fan of the game.
It's a bad game when you have to use Diddy to defend it.
See, the thing is, too, we were talking about this, is there were only 2 Diddies in the top 8, and those were M2K and Zero, who are both tier whores. So it's it's not even Diddy is that bad.
Yeah, top 8 was very diverse, except for the 2 Diddy Kongs. That was it. There was a Sheik, Rosalina. Now, the Rosalina DeBuzz. DeBuzz has always been a campy player in every game he's ever played. So, I saw that coming. But I saw some matches the Sonic vs. Duck Hunt. At least that was fun to watch. I don't know. Right now, in its current state, it is too long. and hopefully something, we'll see how the meta develops. It could stay with that. I don't want it to, but that's what it's at right now.
It was interesting too. Somebody posted on the Smash Reddit or something about the average match time being like 5.5 minutes for Smash 4 and 4.5 minutes for Melee, roughly.
Mm-hmm.
And that was something too that I think after it was all said and done, like it seemed like it was dragging on quite a bit, but in the end, like the time that Smash 4 took up was like maybe like half an hour or an hour longer than like Melee.
It was actually shorter than Melee, but there were way more sets in Melee. That was the difference.
Yeah, well, that was the other thing too. There were more sets.
But someone calculated out it was like 4 hours and 15 minutes for Smash 4, and then 4 hours and 27 minutes for Melee. And Melee had more games, so that's understandable. The thing is, like, if people are getting upset at the whole like Melee chant, for instance, because that was like that's a huge topic on Smash Reddit right now, is like this tension between the two communities, because of the Melee chant. And I've been reading a lot of what people's thoughts were on that, and it's not that. Like, I obviously there will be trolls online, and there'll be trolls in Nebraska that will always, just say, get that crud out of here. I don't care about that Smash 4, blah, 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 blah. Get that out of here. But the reason the Melee chant happened was because people were just frustrated. They wanted to watch Melee. It was 11 p.m. They got the tournament canceled on Friday. They had to drive home at 3 in the morning because they wanted to watch Melee Top 8, and it was supposed to start at 9. So it was just in the heat of the moment. Players were just frustrated. It's not like they were trying to attack Smash 4 at that point. So,
man, all these Reddit posts too. People got all these Johns. They're like, "Yo, I almost died." Like that's why I chanted for like Melee and stuff. And I'm just like,
yeah. He apologized. That's I think.
I mean, I think what Trent said was pretty on point. Where I want to give the people that chanted Melee, especially the benefit of the doubt, and say that they were just frustrated. They were waiting through a game that maybe they didn't particularly want to see, which is totally fine, and they wanted to see their game. And so I don't know that it was really a sign of disrespect, but more just, anticipation and hype for what they'd been waiting for.
Yes, definitely. It just things escalated, and that was just the problem. Like, because they didn't mean for it to come off as disrespectful, but still did, because it was like when Zero was holding up the trophy, the Melee chant was happening. It was like his time to shine, and then he worked so hard to become number 1 in the world at this game, and they're just chanting, get him off the stage so we can play the game that we care about. And a lot of people talked about just making top 8 on separate streams, so that they go at the same time, so then players can just watch whatever game they want. But like people like me who like all Smash games, like I wanted to watch Melee top 8. So if they were going at the same time, I would have been conflicted. I wouldn't know what to do.
Yeah, the other thing too. I mean, the people sitting you were there for the Melee, right? When there were the people behind us, they were the ones that started the chant, right, Trent?
No. I left before the Melee chant happened. I just heard the Melee chant.
All right, I was wondering that because like those were the dudes that were like drinking like crazy behind us that like started.
Oh, was it those guys?
Yeah, the guys that were like.
I hated those guys.
Yeah, the guys that were sitting there like "F you Zero," like get off the stage, like I don't know. It was definitely disrespect that started it. Whether or not it was disrespect, they continued it. Thing.
Wait, one more thing.
Yeah.
What about when people sat all through Smash 4 and then got kicked out of their seats in the front?
Oh my! I heard.
All right, we're going into overtime here. Overtime alert.
Overtime.
Dude, I was sitting. Trent, that was across the aisle from us, though.
Yeah. So what was it like? Talk about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was just like sitting up there, and like so, Nintendo just walks up and he's got like this green tape in his hand and these like flyers that just say like reserved for staff. And he doesn't even like say anything to anybody. He just like starts putting tape on this paper and then like putting it on like chairs and stuff. And like if people like stood up or something, he just like put it on the chair like behind him and stuff. And then so he's just like going around and like I think MacD or somebody came around and was like, hey, what's going on? He's like, oh, I'm just like trying like somebody asked him like what he's doing. And he's like, oh, well, I mean, we gotta get these seats for like staffers. So let's Smash 4 finish and stuff, but then after that, like I figured I'd give people a chance to finish this, and then after that, we're gonna kick them out and let the staffers have a place to sit. And I mean, there was a thread about this on the Smash Reddit, but it's like
I read that.
And there were some good points brought up where it's like you can either screw your staff members or your customers, and like one of those are harder to come by than
Thing
the
is,
other.
they should
and,
have
like,
just planned it. Like,
that was
the
the
show
thing.
said reserved at like 8 a.m. in the morning because people were camping those seats since 9 in the morning just so they could watch Melee top 8. And if they're that dedicated, you know, it was just. I just felt like the planning of Apex could have been a lot better. I understand it was cool that we recovered and
I
everything.
think a lot of it went awry with the venue change too.
Yeah.
Like I imagine they had a lot of these scenarios covered and had taken that stuff into account.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it was just a bad decision under pressure, and I don't know that there's a great solution. Maybe they could have cleared out the front and just had people sit there instead, but then you're still kicking people out. It just sucks that like those people, they're just like, well, time to, you know, sit on the floor, go to the back, and I don't know. Not good, not good. All right, let's move on. DQ, disqualifying players.
Oh.
I'm not sure. I don't have like a specific line of discussion here, but I know there was a lot of issues, at least at Apex, with there were people that were in like pools running at the same times, and the TOs, the way the TOs worked, at least my understanding of it is, like TOs were volunteers, and the TOs would run just like the pool, and they just get like the pool's bracket and be like, all right, like here's your bank of TVs, like run this pool. And so they just feel like saying, hey, like, you know, so-and-so, like, are you here? Are you here? And like everybody knows what pools they're in beforehand because like the schedule's been posted, like everybody's pool info has been posted beforehand, and your responsibility is to come to the tournament and know which pool you're in. And the banks and setups are all labeled on the side with letters and numbers, so you know where to go. But the problem, I think, was that when the schedule got compressed, there were multiple pools running at the same time, and the TOs didn't have any way of knowing if somebody was just not at the venue or if somebody was off playing another pool set or what was going on. So if somebody didn't show up for pools matches, they had to DQ because like there's a whole day lost in the tournament. They couldn't afford to just sit around and delay pools until somebody like maybe showed up or maybe didn't. A lot of people I think dropped out of the tournament altogether too. So
there was a point where someone was on deck to stream Smash 4 for their match, and they got called for their Melee match, and they could not leave the stream stand. They had to get ready for their next stream match, and so they got DQ'd out of their Melee pool because they were playing their Smash 4 match. And I thought that was crazy. Like I understand that we're running behind schedule and everything, but I feel like that's unacceptable. Like it's not his fault. There's no solution to that problem. It was just a really bad situation. There's that thing about the 9 a.m. people who were in the 9 a.m. pools that missed their pool because they relied on the bus, and the bus could only fit so many people.
Yeah. See, my opinions on that are different too. Like at the time, I was just like, "Yo, like this sucks." But the more I thought about it, like they said beforehand, clearly, like this is not guaranteed. Like this transportation is not guaranteed. You should have a backup plan ready. And the thing that did suck was that since the venue is like 45 minutes away from the old one, the cab ride's like $20 each way. And the alternative, I guess, would be like take the train, which would probably be like still be like $15 there or something, I would imagine. Maybe not quite that much.
There's no train stop near the hotel. That's the problem. So it'd just be just as long.
You have to get a train. Yeah, there's no train stop that near the hotel. You have to get like a cab from there or get somebody to come pick you up. So that was not ideal. But the thing was, like, I mean, you could have, like, I switched my hotel booked a hotel on Friday, and the Clarion was giving people refunds for, like, the remainder of the weekend if you wanted to cancel. So you could have switched your hotel and then gotten a cab there the night before or something. But I think part of it, was people kind of didn't really think things through too much and just woke up the morning before and said, all right, I got to get there now. Like, what do I do? And then when the shuttles weren't there, they just didn't have a good option. I don't know. What do you guys think about that scenario?
I don't know. I mean, it's a crappy scenario, but it's one that you only really are in the national tournaments like that, you know? So, I mean, it's really too bad. I don't like it. Like what you guys just explained, I didn't even know that kind of stuff was going on, but it definitely sucks. You know, I wouldn't want to do that to somebody if I was TOing, but I don't know. I kind of just question, like, did they not really understand that? Like you were saying something about somebody that was playing a Smash 4 game and then they had a melee come up. I mean, they not see that guy was playing. I don't really understand. Like, why would you do that to somebody?
Well, there's too many people there to see like visually where people are. Like it just took up way too much space to be able to kind of like
Basically,
tell what people were up to. But
from my understanding of reading this, because I read the scenario online, the guy was on deck to play a stream match, and he was told by random TO1 that said, "Hey, you have a melee match. You need to go play right now." And then he left, but he could not. And then so he was getting ready to go. But then the streamer told him not to go. The TO person, the other TO, random TO person number 2, who's in charge of his pool, was telling him to stay there, or he'd get DQ'd from there. So he was literally in a lose-lose situation. He could not leave where he was going to go explain to them that he could not leave. So they eventually just DQ'd him because he never showed up because he was too busy playing stream match. Because there's so many TOs, there's so many people. The communication wasn't top notch.
I think that it's not really a lose-lose situation because you just stay and play melee and you get DQ'd from Smash 4, and I mean, it's a big deal. So.
But just having to shoot
Also,
at
I wanted to say real quick that it is a shame that people were getting DQ'd at Apex, and Echo said that maybe this is just kind of a problem at a national level tournament sort of thing. But I think in Nebraska, maybe, if people aren't playing the matches, we need to DQ people more often when they are not on time stuff. I know this is kind of about the whole Apex DQ thing, but that's just my opinion about that.
No, that's cool. We can like segue into.
No, I mean,
Yeah, we should talk about
we're gonna
that
talk
too,
about that for the last minute. I mean, we definitely need to, and I think I was talking to Tyler about it a little bit yesterday, and for time 3, we definitely are. If anybody's, even as far as registration goes, I mean, we're gonna start Smash 12-15. If you're not there, you're not getting in. Sorry. I mean, I think we do have that mentality that we're all being so friendly and everybody knows each other, so you try not to do that. But I think we're getting at the point now where the time constraint's going to be there. So it's, if you're trying to run all 3 of these games, you really got to put your foot down on some of the rules, So
I think it gets tough to manage once the tournament gets beyond maybe 20 or so people. Just being a TO by yourself and not having like any way to split it up into pools or something, split up TO duties among people. I think it gets tough to kind of keep, like, if somebody's late for a match, it gets tough. Like, you just tell people like, all right, you play match, you play match, you play match, you play match, you play match. And then if like one of those people happens to be late, like if one guy goes to step and the other guy isn't there, like it's hard to keep track of on a timer and everything to be fair if a guy's showing up or not, or like how long it's been since you called a match. It's just tough to handle by yourself. All right, should we move on to the next topic?
Yep.
Is Project M and the recent, I guess, the state of Project M. Some might say the decline of Project M, just because it hasn't been in nationals recently. It doesn't look like it's going to be in nationals. All this stuff going on with Gimmer's got some special announcement he's going to talk about PM in the next few days, and a lot of staffers, D1 and guys are kind of not saying anything about it. What do you guys think about the future of PM?
I think PM will certainly always have a future. It just might. It depends on what the announcement is. Like we're just kind of like guessing at this point. Whether the announcement is positive news for PM or if it's negative news, we just don't know. But regardless, even if Nintendo were to be like cease and desist, stop doing PM, we don't ever want to see PM ever again, blah 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 blah. I feel like PM would still be played, just not at nationals. They have their own national. I feel like there'd just be someone would make a national for just PM and without Nintendo support or anything, and that would happen.
Is the stream still up, Cam or somebody?
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I've been looking at it. It looks like it's just like spinning around a lot, but I can't hear it, so I don't know. If
We'll see.
Are you recording, Cam, or not? Are you recording? Okay. All right. Well, we'll have the VOD at least. We can upload if we need to. Anyway, yeah. So, yeah, I think the thing that's tough is that I don't feel like there's any way that Nintendo can endorse PM without saying like you need to cut this stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
Just because like they've added things like, I know the thing that I've heard a couple times is Castlevania and like the logo and the stage are in there that were never in like Brawl to begin with. So that's just like IP that nobody has the rights to right now. And I feel like there's probably a mess of legal issues to kind of endorsing it that makes it complicated for Nintendo to do anything as far as like allowing. Like I think they can like kind of ignore it, but I don't think they can really.
They can't. They
ignore
can't.
it
Just
without
like you
being-
said, because of the Castlevania thing, they can't acknowledge it. Like,
Yeah.
it's like legally they cannot acknowledge it just because of the Castlevania thing or just other stuff involved, you know. But we should consider it lucky that they're choosing to ignore us, because like I have yet to see a cease and desist notice or anything to like get rid of PM. So
Yeah. I mean, I don't think PM's going to die, but I feel like if a lot of these big tournaments aren't going to have it, maybe it kind of like gets people to go towards Melee. But I know there's a lot of people that wouldn't be as interested in Melee simply because they can't play their character that they want to play. Like, you know, you think about like Cam from Skyler, he plays Squirtle, right? And then, well, does he want to play Melee? And he can tell me, I guess, because I think he's in chat right now. But I mean, do you want to play Melee because you can't play Squirtle? If that's your favorite character, then you can't do it, you know? And so I think PM is good because it brings all the new people that came from PM or to play PM, they get to do their own thing, you know? Like Colt gets to do his thing with Kirby. He's not going to play Kirby in Melee. He's got it, you know? So I think people always play it, but as far as like big tournaments and stuff, would eventually pick that up. Say, do we want to, if every person in the country is not doing PM, do we want to eventually say, okay, we're going to do PM, or will we still host it? As long as we keep posting it here,
if you guys keep getting viewers, or if you guys keep getting attendance, keep running it. Like,
right. And I mean, as long as we posting it here locally, I think people will still play it locally. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it's going to die, but it's just too bad if a lot of the biggest tournaments won't, because then maybe those people that if they had the desire to go out to play their favorite game, if PM's not involved, then people obviously can't do that.
And like I said, like the PM, I can see it coming to a point where PM just has their own national. There's just a national just for PM and without Nintendo's endorsement or anything. So I think they're that determined. I don't think it's going to die.
I mean, I think if it were to die, it would be like a CD from Nintendo, or it'd be the players stop supporting it. Like, that's because they want to play at a national level and that's just not available, or because PM hasn't like their community hasn't organized large tournaments that include PM, or just one of those things. Because I mean, if there's still player support at the local tournament level where Nintendo doesn't really have any intervention, or people can kind of do whatever they want, then I don't see any reason for TOs to stop running it. People like it and they want to play it, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
The other thing too, I was kind of thinking about. I see this argument be brought up like a lot, where people are like, Valve assimilated mods like TF2 and Counter-Strike, and there's a history of companies that I can't think of who else. Oh, people say like Warcraft and Dota and stuff, which kind of is weird situation there, but I don't think that really applies to this situation, because I feel like some of the concerns that the message that Nintendo gets from PM is that like, we took your game Brawl and it was bad, so we made it better, and now we have PM. And like, TF2 and like Counter-Strike are kind of their own like standalone games in terms of they have their own gameplay and their own ideas, but this is like a very direct, like, we're changing the rules in this game because we don't find them acceptable to our community, and we're making it more like what we want. So I'm not saying that's necessarily bad, but I think I could see why Nintendo might not necessarily want to acknowledge it too much. Anything else you want to talk about on this, or should we move on?
I said all I had to.
All right. Next topic, PPMD. The return of PPMD, the rise of PPMD. We hadn't seen him in about 6 months or so since Apex, and he shows up and just destroys everything.
So, listen, I wanted to stay at Apex. I did. Because the thing is, there was only one more train. I had to get home. I was not going to be able to get home, and I had an acting gig the following morning at 9 in the morning. So I had to get home. I was on 3 hours of sleep when I went to it. Because I was, okay, I'll get home. I got home by midnight. I'm going to go to sleep. My roommate's up. He's watching the Melee streams. Okay, I guess I'll watch this. Then freaking PPMD is on there, and we were getting so hyped during his Leffen match. We were getting so hyped. Like, we're like, me and him, his name's Cam, we're just bouncing off the walls, trying to be quiet, though, because the roommate's trying to sleep. It's like 2 in the morning. And it was just one of the most hyped things I've ever seen was PPMD's return. He was the hero we never knew we needed. and it's like just seeing how smooth his Marth was. It makes me want to pick up Melee and try it up again. But there's just so much knowledge that you have to like know for Melee, and I'm just, do I want to be good that bad, you know? But it was kind of an inspiration to see a Marth win a national. Marth hasn't won a national since like I don't know when the last time it was. It's been a while. Everyone keeps dropping him, so.
Yeah, it has been a while, but I agree with you 100%. I mean, I thought it was awesome not only seeing a Marth win, because, you know, I'd hate seeing another Fox win all the time, but PPMD just has like that movement, you know? It's like the reason that everybody wants to play Melee is because of that movement. And he was moving so flawlessly. There were so many times when he was just dashing around, just like from one end of the stage to the other, and just like dancing around the Fox, and then eventually just go for the grab, you know? And it's like, that's so simple. Like we could all do that, you know? But when you actually see it at that high of a level, and you see it in the grand finals of the biggest tournament we've ever had, it was just like, it was intense, man. It was so good. It was so fun to watch. It's like when you're watching Street Fighter and all the footsies are going on, and maybe people are throwing the moves and they don't hit each other for like 20 full seconds, but it's like, that's what's
exciting.
You know? Yeah, it's that intense. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know like who's going to get the hit, who's going to make the read. And I mean, yeah, it was some of the best grand finals I think I've seen in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, the whole top 8. I don't want to say just grand finals, but every match that PPMD was in, I mean, going up against a Jigs, a Peach, a Fox, he had a good variety in there. So, I mean, all the matches were great.
Yeah. And it was just speaking on the top 8 in general, like the whole Mango versus Leffen, and then Leffen beat Mango. And then we were just like, I was talking to my roommate. It's like, well, we got 3 more people. 2 of them are from Sweden. Will PPMD be our hero? And then my roommate was actually talking about, like, I don't even like PPMD that much because his play style is boring, blah, 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 blah. And then we started watching the match, and then he got really hyped. He's like, yo, I didn't know he could move like that. And then he became a PPMD fan after the tournament. So it was inspiring.
Going back to what Echo said about all that movement, the thing is, like, PPMD has always had, like, incredible dash dance game. But the thing is, he was playing Falco before, right? But now he's playing Marth, and Marth has like that smooth criminal lean every time he does a dash.
Yeah, he does.
And so when he's like, you know, dashing, he covers half the stage just with that lean. So it's a lot more intimidating that suddenly he's on one side of the stage and then you're grabbed, you know? So it's just a lot faster in terms of what character he was using as well.
I thought it was hilarious when he was dashing with Marth, and then like a Fox would short hop Nair, and then he would avoid it because he's in his dash animation where he's crouching underneath that. Like it happened like twice. It was just I could just nerd about PPMD's Marth.
And I mean, his combo game was on point, man. Like so many Ken combos and everything.
Great, and they all look flashy. You can combo them into the ground like 5 times.
Well, actually, I thought that part was really fascinating because his punish and edge guards were so terrible.
Yeah.
But or not his punishes. He got a lot of good up air strings, but like finishing people off and edge guarding, it was just awful. But his neutral game was so godlike, it didn't even matter. Like it was, like you said, it was just inspirational to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when you watch that dude play, it really does make you feel like, man, I just gotta go play some Melee right now. You know, just talking about it right now, I might go fire.
I know. Yeah, I'm in the exact same boat.
I mean, just it's one of those guys. I mean, I really respect the way he plays because it's really aggressive, you know. But it's like if aggressive, it's smart aggressive, but it's very aggressive. And to me, that is what the most entertaining part of Melee is. It's the most exciting. And so yeah, I mean, I love watching that dude play. It's good.
He puts fear in his opponent. Is another thing. Like he makes them like make bad decisions because he's just so aggro.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see him. Did he play any Falcons? I mean, I imagine he had to have throughout the bracket.
He played S2J.
Yeah, I didn't see that match though.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch that one because I think I might have missed that one. But I'd like to see his movement around a Falcon, like a really fast one, you know.
Yeah.
What did you guys think about the switch to Falco? That was like the couple games the first set.
Against Armada?
Yeah.
So like the first game, his Marth got beat. And then he did that whole think thing and then tilting his head. And like when he
chanted Falco, dude. Did you guys hear that?
The what?
Yeah.
On the stream?
I could hear it.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say the whole
Oh, the
crowd started
Falco
chanting
chant.
Falco. They're like Falco, Falco, and then he just like whoop, moved to Falco, and like everybody's
It
like,
was
yeah.
like hype that just
Yeah.
because he picked Falco, yeah, the crowd, which is important. Like people don't think about that, but having the crowd on your side is a good thing because that's momentum that can kill your opponent's momentum. That can raise your momentum. I don't care like how stonewall you are. It's gonna affect something. It's like something's gonna be affected by the crowd. It's amazing. And I feel like he went Falco because he was having trouble with Marth. And then once he figured out our Armada with Falco, he's like, okay, I got you all on lockdown. I'm going back to Marth, and I'm just gonna kill you 3-0.
Any final thoughts on PVMD?
He's a god.
I followed him on Twitter after that tournament.
I'm so glad. He's a fun guy to root for.
Yeah, I didn't think he was the underdog of the tournament. So
Let's
Yeah.
get him to roll tier 5.
I love
Yes,
it.
please.
That'd be great.
I advertised Rule Tier 5 to Hungry Bucks, by the way. He said, yeah, sure, but I don't know what that means.
All right, we've got a viewer question we're gonna close out the show with. Cam's gonna let me know what that is. Is that the? What's that?
The
The
meaning
question
of
is, do you
No
think
Johns?
No Johns has been skewed from its meaning, and somebody
It's a
should know?
toxic phrase, I believe, was the question.
Oh, dude, okay, so first off, No Johns. No, but no, I mean, I don't know. Like, do people use No Johns in the incorrect format?
I was thinking I haven't heard people say it a whole lot, like since Smash 4 came out or something.
Yeah, it's a term that's kind of dying down a little bit. Like, it's still like, it's about as practical as saying fair or nair or something now. I don't know.
What's the thing with Mewtwo King or something you're saying, or what? Oh, he's the one who said it?
I don't know. I have zero thoughts on this question.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I haven't really heard people using it the wrong way. In fact, I haven't heard it being used much at all lately. So I'm not sure. But like, if I'm puking,
I see.
or if I've got like diarrhea or something, and like it's affecting my
That's
play, and I'll be like, no.
Dude,
So I'd be like, No Johns. I'll be like, no, really, like, come on, man.
I don't know. What is a John? Is it just like an excuse? Does it have to be an illegitimate excuse, or can it just be something legitimate too? Does it even matter?
We're discussing it wrong. Wow, I'm so sorry. Maybe it was just a
Okay, yeah. Let's see.
This question sucks.
What is the real
I don't
question?
like this
then?
question that much. I don't know what the heck we're supposed to talk about.
Yeah, someone get a different question. I don't even like this one.
Yo, can we veto? Can we get a new question?
No, I'm scrolling up. Hold on.
Yo, we're not out of time. There's like 4 minutes still taken. Come on, let's go.
Here we go. I got one right here. I'm going to give you guys the question. What does it take to be the best? Is the best reserved for a special group of people, or can anyone be the best given hard work? Can anyone be like Mewtwo King, not naturally talented, or do you need to have a natural grasp of the game like Mango?
I mean, I think anybody can get there if you work hard enough for it. Like I've always said, every time we have a new wave, I call it the new wave, right? So like when Mango came in, I feel like that's a new wave. It was a new generation. And what I mean by that is, you have a new generation of players that learned the game based on the way that other people were playing. So you had Ken that was just destroying with Marth, right? Well, then these newer players came in. Like if I just started a year ago, then all of a sudden I'm coming in, I'm learning the game based on Ken's Marth. I'm not learning it based on 2003 Marth when nobody knew what Ken was even doing. I'm learning it based on Ken's Marth. It's kind of like today how you see people, like you'll play for 2 weeks to a month and people are already wave dashing and wave landing on platforms and stuff. You're like, what the hell? I wasn't doing that for years, So I think in today's world with everything that we have, Smashboards is there, everything else, you can watch videos, whatever. People can definitely get the mechanics of the game and the fundamentals down. I think all it really takes is a lot of playing, a lot of practice, and definitely going to tournaments.
I think it costs a lot of money too. Just at the beginning, you have to enter so many tournaments. You have to travel. Like that's like one of the number one things. If you want to be the best, you got to travel. You can't stay in one area.
That was the thing too. Like I don't know, you guys saw this like Tizer post earlier, but he's just like bunch of like 14, 15ers that are like complaining that have never entered a tournament or whatever. And I feel like if you want to get good, you got to spend a bunch of money to go play in tournaments with people and lose. And it just kind of sucks, but that's going to be part of it.
Because you're the king. the KDJ tactic. We just money match everyone till you get good.
And I don't know, maybe you can just like go play friendlies with people like forever, and just get good that way. So that might be possible too. I'm not probably honestly the best person to have an opinion on this since I don't really play Smash competitively.
Yeah. Well, friendlies definitely help. I mean, it's just that when you go to a tournament, like say you just go to one state over, or you go to Kansas City or something, you're going to see like so much different play, and you're going to get different. Like you're going to play against, say you play against 20 different people, right? Hopefully more, I don't know. But you say you have 20 people, you could see 20 different shield pressures, 20 different approaches, 20 different defenses, 20 different edge guards. Everybody plays a different way. So when you get all that experience and you learn like how to punish everything, you get your reaction times down, everything like that. That's why playing competitively is so important. Playing in tournaments is so important. But yeah, playing in friendlies is definitely good, because if you don't have your tech skill down, and I'm thinking primarily melee right now, but if you don't have that tech skill down, then you're not really going to have as good of a chance anyway. So friendlies keep you, what word do I want to use? It just keeps you good.
Friendlies keep your tech skill up, and then tournament matches keep your mind games up, in my opinion.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because if you play friendlies...
But,
go ahead.
Just real quick, I think that speaks of Melee as being a great game as a whole, that you can go to other places, even just a state over, like you said, and still see so many different styles of play, because the game lets you express yourself how you want to play. It may not be technically the best way, but you can definitely play how you want to. Whether or not that's good, up for debate.
But on the other hand, it's kind of a counterpoint. Like, I feel like top maybe 8 or so is like pretty hard to crack in Melee right now. Like, I don't remember when Mango like kind of joined the scene, or when he kind of became like the god that he is. But if you're talking about like you want to be the very best, like nobody ever was, then like I don't know. I feel like I have yet to see an example of somebody who's like come up from like watching the Smash documentary and is now like, top 10 at Melee. And I mean, the game's been out for a long time, but I'm just saying like it's kind of hard to say, because you need like a long view on like starting from the bottom and working your way up. Anything else you guys want to say? We're gonna close it out. Trent, you want to like plug all your New York stuff one last time?
Sure. Yeah. If you guys want to watch some matches, I should have looked up the Melee stream while I was freaking. But I'll look it up here in just a second. But like, we have Free Saltines is a stream. Bifu Techie is a stream on Sundays. That's for PM and Smash 4. I'll get the Melee stream here in just a second. You can follow me on Twitter. My Twitter name is Trent Sibley. If you want to see all the going-ons that I'm doing Smash related in New York, you can see that. I'm attempting to join the Melee scene right now. It's going to hurt my wallet, but I do want to get good. I've talked to DJ Nintendo a little bit about getting into some friendlies and stuff and just learning the game more, because there's so much information. Thanks for having me on the show. It was fun reminiscing about Nebraska and New York and just the Apex experience.
You bet.
It was good to have you, man.
All right, that'll do it for this episode of Pardon the Smash. Thanks everybody for watching. Have a good one.
Yep, take it easy, guys.